All right. Good morning, everyone. I am live here with Jayne Havens of Snooze Fest. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. I've been super excited about this.
Me too.
Jayne and I are colleagues. I feel like we talk every day and we talk about business, we talk about life. We were just talking about her kids going back to school. But it's nice to sort of be a little more formal and not be able to get sidetracked onto other things and sort of just focus on business. So we're going to talk about what Jayne does. She's a sleep consultant. She owns a company called Snooze Fest. And she also has created a certification program for others to become sleep consultants. So we'll talk about the what, the how, the why, all of that. But I wanted to start off and just mention that this is such a perfect thing for anyone in my industry. So anyone in the birth community, doulas, nurses, midwives, childbirth educators, anyone who does lactation, but it's also perfect for, putting my business aside, stay-at-home mom. So I'm home with my kids. You know, I work from home too, but I'm home with them 24/7. So, you know, right now I'm not taking private clients and I'm really not able to do anything, you know, outside of the house because of COVID and not being at school, just because I don't have, you know, childcare right now, you know, because of COVID. But this is perfect because you can do it all virtually. You can do it all from home. You could do it, you know, sort of anytime, any day, anywhere. And it's so rewarding. And, you know, I think anything with new moms and babies and all of that, new families is so rewarding, but it's also financially rewarding. And I think that's, you know, a big piece of the puzzle is we're all home thinking, what else can we do that we feel good about, but also that brings home a paycheck. So I want you to tell everyone a little bit about yourself first. So do a little intro.
Sure. So again, my name is Jayne Havens. I'm a certified sleep consultant. I specialize in infant and toddler sleep. Just to bounce back to what Jodi was talking about earlier, the reason that I took my own but like my own trajectory from being just a certified sleep consultant to training others to do the same is that I saw that there was a little bit of a hole in the market. The course that I took to become certified was a good course. The curriculum was fine, but I felt that the support was a little bit lacking. I saw that women were struggling. Either they didn't have a full understanding of all of the nuanced sleep stuff, or they really were struggling to get their businesses up and running and couldn't figure out how to transition from like having the knowledge to implementing it and turning it into a real business, a real career.
Which is a huge piece of the puzzle. The mentorship piece after a program is almost more important than the actual program, because you could be so good at what you do, but if you can't get those services to anyone, then what's the point?
Exactly. So that's what I spend a whole lot of time doing in my program is, sure, I educate my students and they go through my curriculum and they learn a ton, but more importantly, I think than that is they are coached, they're mentored, and they're supported through the process of getting their businesses up and running.
Awesome. I love it. So, you know, we sort of did this backwards. We took, you know, let's talk about what you do as a sleep consultant. Sure. And then we'll sort of work the other way.
Sure. So as a sleep consultant, I always tell people that I support families through the sleep training process, and together we get their kids falling asleep independently, falling back to sleep independently, and sleeping through the night. I really pride myself on supporting families in a way that feels safe and comfortable for them. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a one-size-fits-all approach to sleep training. I really try to understand what the family's parenting style is, what their comfort level is around this whole process, because, you know, sometimes when crying is involved with babies and toddlers and even big kids, I work with 5 and 6 year olds and they cry too. And sometimes that can be really triggering for parents. So I really try to come at them with an approach that feels safe and comfortable for them. And that looks really different for every single family. So what I do with one 6-month-old baby is not what I do with another 6-month-old baby.
And I think that's part of the reason why people hesitate on hiring a sleep consultant. They want to, but they can't pull the trigger because they're so afraid that it's going to be harsh and it's going to be hard. And they end up sacrificing, a year of sleep, and you know what sleep deprivation does to you.
Yeah. I mean, I always say that sleep training, which, sleep training almost sounds like a dirty word, which it's really not. It just sounds that way, but it's really just teaching your child how to fall asleep independently without so much help. That's all it is. And I always say that sleep training is something that you do for your child, not to your child. And just because your child is crying, that doesn't mean that you're not comforting them. It doesn't mean that you're not supporting them. I can think of lots of examples where our children cry that is not particularly triggering for us, right? Like if your 2-year-old asks for an ice cream sundae for breakfast and you say no, like they could throw themselves on the floor crying and you wouldn't care, right? Like you just say, too bad, like, sorry, you're having a banana and oatmeal, and then you're out the door, right? So, there's certain situations where parents are totally comfortable with their children being a little upset or frustrated. And then for whatever reason, parents, from like 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., parents are usually largely okay with their children being upset. And then once that clock strikes 7, all of a sudden, a lot of parents have a totally different feeling about crying. And a lot of what I do is trying to help them to understand what it is that their child is communicating. Because if you can figure out what your child is communicating, you can better respond to the crying and you can better support them through the process.
100%. Now, what exactly does that look like? So, pretend I call or email you and say, hey, I have an 8-month-old and it's going terribly and we're not getting any sleep. She's not getting any sleep. Where do we go from there? Or where do you go from there?
Yeah. So my process is that most people call me, just like the example that you gave. My 8-month-old is up every hour. I am losing my mind. My baby's exhausted. I don't know what to do. And what I do is I ask a lot of questions on that phone call. I like to figure out, is the baby bottle fed or breastfed? Is the baby being nursed to sleep or bounce rocked, jiggled to sleep? What's their daytime schedule? What's their sleeping environment? I do like a whole intake just on that discovery call and really try to get a handle on both what's going on and where their comfort level is around the sleep training process. And after I ask a bunch of questions, if they decide that they'd like to work with me, they'd go to my website, they'd pay. That would prompt them to fill out a detailed questionnaire about their child's sleep, which is basically all the questions that I ask on the phone call, but I usually, maybe I forget to ask a couple. So that way I get like all the information. So I get a questionnaire filled out from them. And then I put together a written sleep plan for them. And the sleep plan outlines an age appropriate daytime schedule for naps and feedings. And then if your child is older, it'll also include a lot of strategies for communicating with your child, because a lot of keeping a 3-year-old child in bed through the night is all about communicating during the day, right? So if the child's older, it's a lot of communication strategies. It also includes a really solid bedtime routine. And then probably depending on age, typically I will include like 2 to 3 different options for how to teach your child how to fall asleep independently. So, let's say there's 3 options in that sleep plan, then they would schedule another phone call with me after reading through the plan. We'd go through all the options, figure out what feels safe and comfortable for them. And then I'd largely support them via text message for the next 2 weeks. I check in with families every single morning before I'm even out of bed. I'm texting my clients at like 6:45 in the morning. They're all up because, right, our kids are up in the morning. And then they're free to text message me throughout the day if they need support, if they have questions. And then typically I check in again around bedtime, or, they're checking it, giving me updates. And what I provide is a combination of my expertise, but also a whole lot of support through the process.
And I think such a nice part of this is, and at least for me, if I was going through this, the fact that they know you're thinking about them in the morning and at night. Like there's nothing worse than having someone, trying to help you or working with you, and then they don't like check in, or you're like, am I important to them? And it seems like every single family is so important to you that and I feel the same way about clients too. Like I get up and I'm like, I want to know exactly what happened. I don't feel obligated because you're my client. I actually want to know, how did your night go? How did feeding go? So they feel very supported and that I care because I actually do. And it's so genuine.
Yeah. It's also easier to support families if you know what's going on. So a lot of my clients, for whatever reason, they feel bad bothering me all day, but frankly, the ones that do reach out, I'm working with a little family right now with a 4-month-old baby, and he's doing awesome. And they text me every time he goes down for a nap. They text me every time he wakes up from a nap. I know what's going on with this baby all day long, and he's doing great because I can provide them with real-time support and help them troubleshoot when things don't go perfectly. And that's how I can help. I can't help if I'm not involved.
True. And it sounds like something you could do like in the pickup line while you're waiting for your
Totally.
kids. Like, you could do it when you pull into the grocery store, like before you go in, you could do like a quick check-in, which my kids despise when I pull into the grocery store and don't get out immediately. When I have to like do one thing for work, they're like, are you joking?
Seriously, I think we live parallel lives. Like my kids are constantly yelling at me about that. But, that's the trade-off. I run a very successful business from my cell phone, and I get to stay with my kids all day. They don't have a nanny or a babysitter, and I get to do this work that I love. And I am able to juggle it all. Maybe we have to sit outside the grocery store for an extra 4 minutes while I respond to a text message, but like, that's the trade-off. And I love what I do. I talk to my clients while I'm folding laundry. I'm able to multitask my entire day pretty much.
Perfect. It's funny though, because, I'll always say to the kids, like, do you want me in an office 40 hours a week? And
I say the same thing.
Of course the little ones don't. And my oldest one used to be like, oh no. But now she's like, I don't know, kind of like, I do wish you were not like home all the time. So it changes. It's kind of funny. So all of the new moms and new families listening, this is super exciting to them because either they're teetering on, wanting a sleep consultant and just not pulling the trigger, or they're just realizing that there is somebody out there who could support them and maybe they didn't know. But also newish moms, out there now are like, wow, this is either something that I feel I could be an asset to other families on, or I'm realizing now, that I could make a career out of this and I can do it from home and still be with the kids and not sacrifice, time. And I feel like that's such a big deal it's not even the financial piece of it. It's just, feeling like you're out doing something and feeling accomplished and, having that reward of helping new families. And, it's such a wonderful feeling.
That was my experience getting this up and running. The whole reason I started this business was because I just, after about 4 years of being a stay-at-home mom, just got an itch to do something. And it wasn't about the money. It was just about using my brain in a different way and just like feeling like I was doing something for myself rather than all about my kids all day long. And, sleep was something that I was always good at. I got both of my kids sleeping at an early age. I was helping friends with sleep training. It was just something that I was always working on it. I was always reading about it. I'm the type that's like in the Facebook groups, learning about different sleep training techniques and reading all the blogs. It's just, it was a hobby of mine. And I turned a hobby into a business. And, it really was the greatest thing for me to give me a sense of purpose outside of just raising my kids, which is totally valuable and enough. But for me, I just wanted something more. And
when you're so good at something, why not utilize those skills to help other people, with the same thing that you were able to do successfully.
Totally.
It only makes sense. And that's how I got into postpartum care. I had, my first child, and I realized how difficult it was to be a new mom and not have any support. And I was like, there has to be a better way. I don't ever want to go back to my, corporate job. What can I do with this? I felt like I felt drawn. I felt so passionate about it. And, my postpartum time was all trial and error, but I felt like I conquered it in a way that was empowering. So if I could do that for other new moms, then why not make a career out of it? And, 12 years later, it's been quite an amazing journey, and it's transferred, into other things. But yeah, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. So I love that. So yeah, so good for the new moms, new families who are watching. They've learned a couple of things, how they can help their own, children and themselves, but also how they can maybe make a career out of it. Tell us what the certification course is. What does it look like? What kind of time commitment,
Sure.
What it entails?
Sure. So the certification course is all online. It's mostly reading with some videos sprinkled in. You move through it completely at your own pace. You don't have to be anywhere at any specific time. Most of my students are working on it an hour here and there while their kids are in bed at night. So they're not like working on this full time. And I would say on average, it's taking about 3 to 4 weeks for most of my students to get through it. But people have definitely finished it way faster, and then others take way longer. So that's just really an average. My course includes modules all about the science of sleep, safe sleep practices, sleep as it relates to different developmental ages and stages. You'll also learn all the different sleep training techniques. You will learn all the different, learn how to deal with unique circumstances, multiples, travel, illness, teething, all the stuff that parents worry about all the time. You will learn how to effectively communicate with your clients. So how to write a sleep plan, how to respond to a tricky email, how to get onto a discovery call and land that first client. What else?
And Joe, you actually have a call on there?
Yeah, I do. That's actually... Yeah, that's actually my favorite part of the course is that section opens up with a sample discovery call of mine. So you hear me talking to a prospective client, that client hires me, you see the sleep plan that I've written, and then you see the next phone call where I go over the entire sleep plan and the whole process of working together. So it really walks you through the process of how to work with families. And then there's a section all about getting your business up and running, which I think is hugely important because most people who are launching small businesses for the first time have no clue how to set up a business, how to get a website up, how to set up social media. Business social media accounts are different than just like if you're on Facebook as a person, right? So getting all of that up and running. And then there's a huge resource library at the end with just links to YouTube videos, articles, all the good stuff that you could need. I also include 6 books with my course. I think that it's super important for sleep consultants to be really well read, and they should be reading all the books that the moms are out there reading. So those are included with the price of the course. And then you get access to me in a Facebook group with all of the other students and grads of the program. And the Facebook group is a place for you to ask questions, for you to collaborate, gain support. I run accountability challenges every month where we all set goals in our businesses and hold each other accountable to achieve them, whether they be big or small. Some of my students set goals like, I just want to be on a podcast this month, or I want to finish the course or land my first client. And then others set financial goals, so it really runs the gamut. But I really truly pride myself on providing a whole lot of support to my students, because I think that that's really what takes people from point A to point B and really allows them to soar.
And I think it sets you apart too from the other courses, because like I said earlier, there's nothing worse when you finish something and you have more questions and then
that's it.
Like,
yeah.
Crickets. The post-training or post-certification mentor piece is so important for the success of the person, taking the course. And, you really want to ensure that they, not succeed because you have no control over that, but that you're there for them if they need anything. And, only they can decide how much they're going to put into it, but whatever their needs are, you're there to support them.
Yeah. And it's my favorite part. I mean, I love watching these women start off feeling anxious and nervous and insecure, and they don't have the guts to get out there and put their face in front of, their audience, and then they land that first client and the second and the third, and then all of a sudden they're like total experts and they know it, and I love seeing that
And it makes you feel
transformation.
so good.
Yeah, I love seeing their confidence build.
Yeah, it's like the little birdie coming out of the nest, and you're
Yeah,
like,
totally. It's so fun every single time. It's the best.
yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. That's one of my favorite parts too. What would you say to someone who's, watching this and getting excited about it, but they just don't know like how to take that leap? It's so hard. It's so hard to take a leap into something new. Just, I think, not because you don't want to or you don't think you have the time, but just fear of it not working out.
Yeah, I think that fear piece is really common, and it's a bummer. Like, I think that it's a bummer that it's common, right? Like, I think we women don't give each other or ourselves enough credit that we can do this. And, a lot of it is mental, and just deciding that, not that you can, but that you are going to. It's a yes or a no. It's not a maybe. Like, if you show up every single day and you work on it, then you gain traction. And that doesn't mean that your business is going to explode in the first year, but it means that you're constantly going to be on like an upward trajectory. And a service-based business really compounds over the years, if you support families well, then they all tell their friends. So like, if you have 5 clients, even if you only had like 10 clients your whole first year, those 10 people have a gazillion friends. So if you do a really good job with those 10 families, then your next year is going to be like exponentially better.
And especially with anything with, this is true for like weddings and babies, anything that has to do with like your pregnancy, postpartum, if you loved it in that time, you will tell 10,000 people. And anyone who has a baby knows coworkers, friends, sister-in-law's best friend from college. Everyone knows people who are having babies or struggling with sleep or struggling with breastfeeding or struggling with potty training. I mean, those are like the big ticket, complaints. So especially with sleep, next time you have to come out with potty training. That should be your next thing.
I can't. I like, as good as I am at teaching babies to sleep, I have total PTSD from teaching my kids to use the bathroom. That is not my thing. I can't do it. That will never be me.
Like the biggest complaint. I had 2 amazing sleepers, and my third one was up like every 45 minutes for like a year. No joke.
Yeah. I believe it, because that's what I work with. So I get it. Yeah. But I think it's a mental block, and it's all in our heads. And if we change the dialogue in our brains to go from like, I don't know if I can do it, to like, I am going to do it, like I'm going to work on it, then you make progress and you get there.
I love it. Where can people find out more about your course? Where can they find you? I'm definitely going to post all this information in the comments. But you have a Facebook group, you have a website, you have lots of things going on. Instagram.
Yeah, where can people find me? Everywhere. So many places. My consulting website is thesnoozefest.com. That's if moms are struggling with sleep and want to reach out. If you would like to learn more about becoming a sleep consultant, my website is thecpsm.com, which is the Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. If you want to find me on Instagram or Facebook, I'm at Snoozefest by Jayne Havens. And my Facebook group, which is new and totally a fun place to hang out, is called Becoming a Sleep Consultant. So that's really easy to remember. If you're interested in learning more about this, not ready to pull the trigger, but just want to like get to know me better or get to know this field better, that's a really great place to start. Again, it's called Becoming a Sleep Consultant.
And you have a little gift for anyone thinking about it, and when you decide to register.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Almost forgot. Anybody who would like to enroll in the program and who's watching this video, if you use the code HIP to Heart, you'll get $200 off the price of the course.
Awesome. I love it. And yeah, if you have any questions after this or want to know more, like she said, she's everywhere. So I will post all of the information in the comments. And Jayne will be taking a look at all the comments in the next, couple of days. So if you feel like just, hopping on Facebook and throwing out a question or a comment, she'll definitely answer it there too.
Happy to.
Thank you so much for coming on. I love this. I feel like the reach for this is like, crazy. Everyone, could sort of pivot what they're doing now and start either working with their own families for sleep or, professionally doing it. So I love it. It's perfect. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we will, like I said, answer any questions. Have a
good one.
great day.